Hey, you're watching Stryk TV, Backstage Access. Hey, we'd like to thank the fine folks at Select Power Sport, your friendly neighborhood Kawasaki Yamaha dealer. Go see Bobby Joe where the blacktop meets the checkered flags. And the Courthouse Whistle Stop Cafe, located at the historic downtown Livingston. Hey, you eat yet?
Hey, I'm Steve Wariner, and you're watching Stryk TV, Video Country.
Hey, this is Tommy. I'm Stryk TV. We're striking up a conversation with my good buddy, Steve Wariner.
Man, long time.
Dude.
Long time.
Son, I'll tell you what, we go way back.
Yeah, that's scary.
Well, a little bit anyway.
How far we go back is kind of scary.
Well, hey, old school, old school.
That's me. That would be me for sure.
Well, we're going to go back 9 years old, Steve Wariner.
Oh, my God.
He gets a bass guitar from your father, and you play in his band.
We played every VFW, American Legion, Moose Lodge, all that stuff, all over kind of that area of Indiana. A little town was back then, it was a kind of small little farm town just north of Indianapolis. And
wow.
we'd play all those little places. I was 9, 10, 11 years old.
Did they have to sneak you in the back door?
Yeah, my dad would sneak me in, but we always had to play these places. We had to make sure there's a partition between the
There you-
bar, and most of them did.
Oh,
have
yeah,
one,
back in
so
those days.
back in those days, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. So,
There you
and
go.
they didn't really. Nobody said nothing much anyway.
No.
So there I was playing my old George Jones songs,
There
and
you go.
playing bass and playing drums a little bit. I played with my uncle and my dad. And,
9 years old. Wow.
yeah, I mean, it's like, man.
Takes you
and,
back.
and then they'd give you $10 or something at the end of the
And a
night.
hot
You're
dog.
like, and a hot dog, and you're like, man, I actually
Yeah.
get paid and get
Yeah.
fed. You know.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna get into the music business right
I
now.
want to do this
Yeah.
for a living. So.
Well, I'm gonna take you back to Indianapolis. You're in a club, and a superstar walks in, or sees you there, or meets you,
Right.
and you're hired on the spot.
That's
Miss
correct.
Dottie West.
Dottie West, Dorothy Marsh,
My
Dottie West,
God.
and she. They were I didn't know, but they were looking for a bass player. Their bass player was. He and his wife were having a baby. He was quitting the road and going to stay home, and I didn't know it. I was just there playing with some of my buddies, and she heard me playing with those guys, and they wanted me to come out on the bus and talk to them about joining
Okay,
up
but
the
you're
band.
playing there. She's not playing at all. She just comes to see you.
Well, her show. No, she's
Her-
playing a show there. But,
Okay, okay.
But she hasn't played yet. Her show
Oh,
is
now-
like
oh.
later in the night. You know.
Yeah.
She came there, which is a very unusual for someone to come out before they play. She was going to play like a couple hours.
Yeah, they
later.
never come out.
No, they usually hide
you
out.
do.
Yeah, well, I try to,
Yeah.
but Dottie, back then, man, it's really rare that you'd see anybody before the show.
Wow.
And there she came out, and I was singing up on stage, and I heard a girl's voice. I'm thinking, there's no girls in this band. I'm thinking, who's singing? I look around,
Yeah.
it's Dottie West.
You're 17 years old at the time.
That's right. And
Wow.
she said
What a
her
trip.
her drummer in their band was Byron. He was they later were married, about a year later were married, and
Wow.
he was the band leader. And he came over and he said, Dottie wants to see you. If you got a minute, we want to talk to you on the bus. And I thought, what are they going to talk to me about?
Yeah.
We go on the bus and they said, we need a bass player. Would you want
Wow.
to join up? So I did. Stayed about 3 years.
Wow. Now you are influenced by her and many others. I mean, I've got a list. But we're not going to hit all this. But anyway, you're
That's a lot of long.
Yeah,
boring
but the
stuff
thing about
there
it is,
now.
your influences. Chet Atkins, the Beatles. There's a little difference in music.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was because my oldest brother.
Terry?
Well, he's my younger brother,
yeah, okay.
Terry, but then I got another older brother,
Oh.
Kenny, and he had a band, kind of a rock and roll band.
Okay, I see.
You
Now
know,
I see what you're doing.
He'd have his kind of the hair going up, and so I was kind of influenced by his music, which he loved, just rock and roll. So I played kind of in his band a little bit, but then on the weekends I'd be with my dad, so I was playing rock and roll and country. I was kind of all over the place. I was just wanting to play. You know?
Wow.
So I was kind of influenced by a lot of different people. So.
Well, then you get a chance to meet your idol, Chet Atkins.
Yeah.
And then he hires you
Yeah,
and
man.
puts you on a label.
Yeah, he was my first producer.
Son.
I got to tell you though, I worked for a guy. You know this. I worked for a guy during that period. I was working for a gentleman. He passed away. He was 41. He was from East Texas, right around Nacogdoches. Bob Lumen.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for Bob for about 2 years, and during that period, I did some sessions. I played on some of Bob's records. He cut some of my songs, and I met a guy named Paul Yandell, who was Chet's right-hand guy for 30 years.
He introduces you.
He took me to Chet,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
Chet called me. And the true story, I was up in Kentucky at my parents'. I was kind of staying there, living back and forth, and I was up there one day, and Chet Atkins calls. And my brother Kenny, who I spoke of earlier, he always messed with me.
Right.
He'd always mess with me, and he'd call and say, "Hey, it's Merle Haggard. Hey, what's that?" I'd say, "Shut up, man," you know. And so one day, Chet Atkins really did call, and
There it was.
And I said, he says, "Hey, Steve, this is Chet Atkins," and I said, "Shut up, Kenny." You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was him messing, with me, but it really was
Wow.
Chet, and
What an
so
honor.
I was down there and working with him.
What an honor.
Oh man, he was the best. I mean,
Wow.
took me into the studio. We recorded. My first session was the day after Elvis Presley passed away. And
Wow.
you can imagine
Oh.
RCA was like just a buzz with,
Oh,
you know,
God.
the
Wow.
press conference happened, right? My
Yeah.
session was put off for hours. And,
I bet.
And but anyway, Chet cut my first records, and we were off and rolling. Bob Lumen passed away not long after, in '78, right around Christmas time. And I,
Man.
right after that, Chet said, "Man, I need a bass player, would you?" While we were trying to
Right.
get hits going,
Right.
he hired me to go on the road with
Wow.
him.
Well, and 14 hits to follow. 14, what, number one or top 10s?
Number ones.
Number ones, yeah. I
and,
want to make sure you was paying attention.
Yeah, I got you. I get shorted every now and then on some of the number ones.
There you go. There you go.
The other day, I was talking to a guy on the radio. He said, 9 number ones. I go, wait, that's
Wait, hold
Billboard number ones.
Yeah,
Come on,
14,
man.
baby. And what, 29 albums?
Yeah, I think something like that. I've
Wow.
lost count because they do
29
they
albums.
repackage, the greatest hits and all that. I've lost count, but
Okay.
but yeah, something like that. I
Okay,
believe so.
you've got a lot of albums, but the one that's going to stand out to me is the Minnie Pearl recognition you got
Yeah,
for
she
your
was-
your stuff. Tell us a little
That
bit
was
about
a
that.
humanitarian award it's called the Sarah Cannon or Miss Minnie
Right.
Pearl Award, and it's more of a they gave that to me because of at the time I was doing a lot of, and I still do, but at the
Right.
time I'd done a lot of work for Juvenile
Right.
Diabetes Research Foundation, and that's the when the cure comes along, when they find
Right.
a cure for diabetes, it'll come from these research people,
Right.
and I love to do stuff for JDRF, and that year we had done a whole bunch of stuff. I traveled a lot, doing stuff with Mary Tyler Moore and
Right.
stuff with JDRF. So I love it. I love doing stuff. My daughter is a diabetic, has been
okay.
since she was 8 years old. So it's
Wow.
dear to me, and that one means a lot because I knew Miss Minnie real well. And she was,
Right. Well, having
she
the
was my
name
sweetheart.
recognized with Steve Wariner,
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
all together, that's a full package right there.
That means a lot because I love
Yeah.
Miss Minnie.
And it's a Christmas album.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a Christmas baby, huh?
Yeah.
You're a Christmas, your birthday.
Christmas
There
baby
you go.
born,
There you go. Hey.
Christmas Day 54.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
1954. Great year. No,
Well,
I'm
you,
kidding.
now, yeah, there you go. Well, hey, you've done tons of TV, from the CMA Awards to Jay Leno to David Letterman. You've done them all. And is there anything that you're looking to do that you haven't done yet? Or
Well, there's a ton. I'd love to. One of these days, I've done a little bit of this, but I'd love to get involved in some movies, like score some music for movies and
Yeah.
and write some stuff. I did a little bit for made for television movie stuff,
yeah.
but
Who's the Boss?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I did Who's
yeah.
the Boss.
Six seasons or
I
9
think
seasons?
you're right,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know more about it than I do.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, Who's the Boss?
Hey, Who's
We
the
used to
Boss?
listen- I know that voice.
That was
That's
me.
Steve.
And then I also did the music for. There was a Dukes of Hazzard's made for TV movie, a reunion movie. I did all the music, or most of the music for that. That was really cool working with all those Duke boys. That
There you
was fun.
go. Yeah. Was that with
Daisy
Willie
Duke
Nelson?
came in.
Was the uncle then, or was that the?
No, Willie wasn't involved in
Okay,
this movie.
that was the
but
other
Waylon was involved in some of the other ones. This was a made-for-TV movie, but it was really cool, man, getting to do that. And I wrote a lot of music for it. A lot of guitar stuff was in it. so
Wow.
I'm excited about it.
Well, I mean, I can't wait now. You got I think it's the number 8. You kind of went back and did some writing, or had Bill Anderson to write a song. Is it Blue Bonnet?
Well, no, I wrote Blue Bonnet Memories with a guy named Rick Carnes.
Okay, yeah, but that's a good Texas song
Oh
now.
man,
I heard it a while ago.
I've been doing that song live. We wrote that. Rick Carnes and I wrote that about 8 years ago. And,
Wow.
And I've been doing it every time I cross over into Texas.
I'm telling you.
I go, I'm doing that
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
And they hit the dance floor, and that's the greatest compliment in Texas when they hit the dance floor. It's like,
There you go.
yes. So.
Well, now I noticed Bill Anderson's on the
Bill's
list.
on. Oh yeah, Bill and
yeah.
I wrote a song called "I Want to Be Like You," and he came to my house. He called and said, "Steve, I've got this song that I've kind of been working on with Tom Shapiro," and you know how he whispers and I see. He said, "I want to bring it to you and show it to you." And it was he and Tom had started working on a song called "I Want to Be Like You," and it's really talking about your kids and how you admire them so much that I want to, when I grow up, I want to be like my kids. You know, they're
Wow.
way better than I am.
Wow.
So,
All right, one more thing. Talking to Steve Wariner, and
Yes, sir.
I've got a couple more questions, and you got a show tonight, and we're going to make it happen. Being inducted with the Grand Ole Opry family, 1996.
yeah, man.
Tell me what goes through an entertainer's head. I mean, are you doing flashback to the folks, or
Yeah,
your mom and dad?
For
or-
sure, you hit it on the head. My mom and dad were there that night, which
Yeah.
was really cool. I look over and my mom's talking.
Wow.
My mom's cornered over there talking to Porter Wagner, and my dad's talking over here with the Grandpa Jones
Wow.
and Chet Atkins. I'm like, this doesn't get much better than this. They asked me to be a member. I've been playing it since I was 17 at the Ryman anyway.
Yeah.
I've been out
Yeah.
there, and with
Yeah,
Bob
you're right.
Lumen, I've been playing there a lot. And so I was really used to being there, and I loved the Opry and played it a lot on my own. But
Wow.
the minute they asked me to be a member, was really special.
I always wonder what goes through your head. In an
You
entertainer's
pinch
head.
yourself, kind of like, man, this
Yeah.
is really.
This
And
is-
it's one of those things where you don't be a member unless they ask you. You know,
Right.
They come to you and ask you, and it's pretty cool.
Put their arm around you and say, "Hey, this is it."
We want you in the family. So.
Now, who was the guy that called you out?
Bill Anderson is who.
Bill
He
Anderson.
inducted me. He inducted me.
Wow,
and,
what an awesome deal, buddy.
Yeah, and my guitar player that night was a young guitar player named Chet Atkins. He's my lead player. I had him come out.
Yeah.
I had him come out and play with me. I was talking, I was making comments and saying, I was stumbling around trying to be humble and say all these things, and Chet just leaned over and said, "I think you should sing now." Which I did.
Yeah,
I was
do what you
bumbling
do.
around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you played from Garth to whoever, tons of guys, and been on the road, and you've made us happy here in Texas.
Oh,
and
man.
Hey, Stryk TV, we also have an internet radio, and we get a chance. Steve Warner's on.
I really appreciate that.
Man, you're
really
awesome.
do.
Man. We love you to death, and you're in the Woodlands, Texas tonight, and a place called Do-Si Do, good house.
I love that place.
Awesome acoustics.
Listening place. Everybody's listening to everything you do. I love it.
That's right. And we're going to be there. We're going to get a
I
couple
know. I
songs.
heard you guys.
Yeah. And thanks, Steve,
Thanks,
so
Tommy.
much,
Great
man.
to see you again, man.
And
Thank y'all.
we're gonna hang out with Steve.
Do it. All right.
I didn't cheat, I didn't lie, so her leaving took me by surprise. Just a note on the table saying we're through. At first I went crazy, so it took me some time, but I finally read between the lines. It's not what I did, it's what I didn't do. I didn't tell her each day I loved her. I took it for granted, and somehow she knew. I didn't hold her when she needed a shoulder. It's not what I did, it's what I didn't do. Now it's easy to see why her love died. She was planning her nights by the TV guide. She needed me with her more than I knew. I was too busy working, getting ahead, when I should have been home loving her instead. It's not what I did, it's what I didn't do. I didn't tell her each day I loved her. I took it for granted, and somehow she knew. I didn't hold her when she needed a shoulder. It's not what I did, it's what I didn't do. Oh, it's not what I did, it's what I didn't do. As I fall asleep at night and wake up each day in a Texas state of mind.